Hello, hello. Welcome to my nature hut. I'm gonna prop my door open with my trusty soldier. Oops, sorry about all that. Hey Lisa. So Garrett is down for the nap. Yay, the nature hut. Yep, let me see what it looks like to turn this. I don't know how well this is gonna do. I'm just in my yard clothes. Been hanging out doing school outside and chores and stuff today, and it was so beautiful. I said, why not just go ahead and share some things in the nature hut today. Hey there. Hey Lynn, you joined. Yay. It's my best friend in Florida. So, and Marco is out doing some yard work. I think I did homeschool happy hour this week, and let me turn around so y'all can see the back of the nature hut. So I'll go ahead and talk about my little hut out here. Hey, another Floridian. We have been collecting nature for years. We've been homeschooling 16 years with a Charlotte Mason bend, and I've always enjoyed nature. I shared, keep on getting my roof. Hey Dina, I shared on one of my scopes, you know, my journey to bringing me to really loving nature and nature study, and the realization that, yeah, I'm an amateur naturalist. There's just no getting away from it. It's just something that I really enjoy, and my family and the Charlotte Mason philosophy has brought me to that place in my life. So anyway, we have collected, and I shared on a scope earlier about some of the things I have in the house, and I'll keep on turning around because what I have in here is more interesting than my face. Oh, good. I want to see, I think I just followed you on Instagram, Valerie. I want to see if you do anything with wood burning. And same for anybody else. I hope that you can hear me okay, because my neighbor was doing the grass and I waited a little while, and now he's weed eating, so I think he's almost done. But I had so many things in my schoolroom and in drawers. Oh, that's great. Thank you, Dina. That's great. Definitely post your handicrafts on Instagram. I really enjoy seeing what other people are doing. Anyway, my collection just seemed to overtake the house, and we live in an old Victorian home and are blessed to have some outbuildings. And I first put my extras in the greenhouse that it does not have water or electricity. So I was using one side for greenhouse projects and not really using it to its full potential, but it was a little bit too dusty and all my stuff just got yucky. So I decided to take over this building, which previously was my children, when they were little, they called this their workshop, and they played out here and had hours and hours of imagination. And then we stored our living history supplies here for living history, our tents and cooking supplies and things like that. And I said, you know what, let's stick that stuff in plastic bins and stick it in the greenhouse because we don't use it that often, and let me utilize this space for our natural history museum. And that's what I did last year, and haven't been out here much this summer, but it's been great to know that I had the storage and to add things. I mean, this winter, sorry. But now that it's spring and I can open the doors, you know, I was in here, I haven't used the shop vac or things like that out here, but been able to do some things. So I just thought, why not go ahead and share this. So I'm going to turn it around and sort of give you a quick tour. So this is the door, that's our yard. This is the door that we come in, and when you come in, I have some sea whips drying that my friend Miss Judy gave me to share. She collected from Sanibel Island, and they really stink, so I'm trying to sun dry them and dry them out so I can send them home to other people. Then I have a corner for my basket supplies, basket making. Takes up a lot of room, the supplies, and it was outgrowing my storage in the house. And we recently replaced, a couple of years ago, replaced all of the original windows in this Victorian home. So we have a lot of old windows for projects, and behind it is just a high school art project that didn't have anywhere to hang up in the house, so we put it here. And more basket supplies. And out that door you can access our fire pit. Hey there, Ingrid. Yes, I have several things I've done, and these are some more windows right here stacked up for future projects. We had 35 windows in our home, so we had several to share and several for me. The lighting when I'm putting right out there is not too good. So right out that door is our fire pit, so we have like a pot. We haven't cooked on it yet, but I do want to cook. I do historical open fire cooking. So yes, it's a wonderful space. And my bike, it was my daddy's bike, and that's my bike, an old red bike. And hanging at the door is someone just gifted us with a whole pile of dried rosemary. I don't need that in here. Thank you though.
You want it all?
Probably for the porch, if we could paint it. Sorry, my husband's doing some work and was asking me a question. Oh, good. I want to see what you do with it, Dina. I gave Dina as a local friend that's on here, Dina Britt, and she promised me she'd do some projects. She's very creative. But anyway, dried rosemary for burning on the fire pit. And my, I feel like I'm half Maine, half North Carolina, and my brother went and brought me this poster, and I knew it had to go there. My husband put a wall, the back wall had a lot of holes in it because there's another building on the other side that's his blacksmith shop. But we had the holes filled with newspaper, but it just wasn't enough. Yeah, the book, I do book crafts, but I'm very particular about what books I use. They're from an old literature anthology. Literature anthology that was written in, and the pages are very brittle, so I felt confident in using that for wallpaper. I haven't finished the whole wall, but I just thought it would be cool. So then my husband built, let me back up, he built a table. You see underneath, I haven't put the paper back there yet. You can see where I stopped, so I haven't finished papering the wall, so I plan to get to that this spring. But he built this table for me, the bench, and these wooden boxes he had built for our living history stuff, and I have storage in there. Oh, go to Pinterest. There's so many ideas there. Anybody, I'm sure, could get influenced. And this box right here are 52 or probably less bags of shells. My friend Miss Judy gifted me with so many shells to make that bird, and I was looking around our yard to find it as my bird. Yes, we have lots of birds. We can hear more than we see because of the cats though, Lisa. They stay within, arm's reach, away from us because of our cats. But I have bags of shells, so when homeschool families come, yeah, probably. We have a box, a bluebird box on the back of the shop too that gets nested in every year. So Dina, I don't know if I gave your children bags of shells or not. I can't remember, but that's the purpose. And this is a box. These are broken shells, so they can play in here and try to identify some. And then I have this case. These are non-broken shells that they can come in and try to identify them and sort them and touch them. Hey, Andy. So that's one of the fun things. Carter was identifying shells this morning. And have some of our baskets. My husband does blacksmithing and he made these. This was in my kitchen and we hung some coffee mugs on them, but then he made me a cabinet and we changed it and hung it up here, and so for some of my baskets. This is actually, I don't remember what you call it. It's not glass, it's plastic. Oh, well then you need to come by, Dina. Well, I'm going to do a shell workshop, and I don't know if I'm going to do it with a lot of people or just, I think it's plexiglass, Dina, or if I'm just going to invite a family at a time to do it, to come and explore the shells with me. Depends on how many children. But yeah, that's my, a dear friend of the family's made this for us. And over here are a few of my Civil War supplies that I did not want in the greenhouse. Historical toys, my stuff for washing dishes, and our kerosene heater and games, and some of my dishes. So those, the doll bed, that stuff is just a few of our living history things. And I found this at a thrift store, this frame, and it's not glass. It was for like metals display or something, and I covered it with this fabric. My friend collected most of them for me. I do have some from my own childhood and my own collecting, but she goes down to Sanibel Island all the time and collects them, and she gave me enough to share, which is amazing. So I have plenty so that children can come for years to come and learn about shells, and I have several bags to give away. Hey Amy. So this is just, I like the beauty of the broken shells too. I don't know if I can get less. I mean, aren't they just beautiful? That's just the way God made them, all the colors. And so, you know, I like even the broken shells, not just the ones that are perfect. So then, as far as we use this for history, but it was just so cute. And like up here I have, I don't know where I got this, but this is the size of a baby in the womb, about 9 to 12 weeks. So I just think that's so special. So I have that up there to show people. And like I purchased this when we went to Ocracoke Island, and this is a bird's nest that we collected that fell down, and you can see, I think I told you on my other scope, Andy, that I had some bird's nests that you could see what they used to actually make the nest with. And that's a project some of my older children did like 1,000 years ago and made a spider web. So that's a very fun, they hammered the nails in an old board and made their own spider web. And this is a horsehair, no, this is horsehair from an antique piece of furniture. Well, it was stuffed in an antique piece of furniture. Oh, good. And these are some North Carolina shells from my childhood. And we have a jar of snake skins. Aren't they fun? This thing is, so they can handle that. And a little homeschool friend of mine painted that for me. They're not that ooh, Lynn. This is ooh right here. Alex found a snake. Let me see if I can open it. Yes, that's why I wanted to do this, to show ideas. This is actually a snake that he collected, and it's in the process of dehydrating. So he thought that was pretty cool and wanted to add it. So 99% of the stuff is from the thrift store, the containers, like a brandy sniffer. These are the inside of the Florida fighting conch shells, and they look like flowers to us. So we just like to put them in there. And a horseshoe crab. These are some shells these are some rocks and stuff that my son, when he went to Texas, collected them from near the Alamo for me. This is my horsehair nest. I don't remember where I collected that. And then some random bones and a vintage dish, just because it's fun to open up a glass thing and see a ooey surprise. So things like this I leave up high, and if children want to see it, I bring it down. It's a horsehair nest. It's a bird's nest made out of horsehair. You'll find those in barns and stuff. And this, I collected this because it's just the historical significance. This was stuffing out of an antique chair. Like that's what they, because I like history and science. Yes, random bones in a vintage dish is, I like stuff like that. And then someone gifted me this skull, this cow skull. A family member inherited his grandfather's farm, and they had to bury something, and they dug this up. So this is probably over, 50, 75 years old, this cow skull. So that's pretty cool. And dried flowers from when my husband gives me flowers, because that's nature too. And just different things. Let's see what's, some little baby sea urchins. I like baby things, little things and big things. Oh, there's something really gross in there, but I won't show you. This is a robin's nest that we collected, and we've had it for a few years, but it was built right on a stick. Yes. So I put a stick there to show how it was built. And I'll put my hand so you can see the size of it. Wyatt thinks it is a decomposing mole that one of the children found in the ground, and I learned on Jake's Bones that's a site that you need to go to if you're interested in bones and how to collect them. But I learned that I could have done some things to get the flesh and so forth off of it, but it was pretty much dehydrated already, and it was just cool the way it was. I know I'm weird. I thought it was cool, so I did my visitors a favor, and you can't really see it. So I'll only pull that out to people that are really interested. So some of these are fake from a museum, and some of them are real Indian arrowheads. And this is a very good way to display a nest that you collect inside of the cheese servers, the cheese ball servers, and I find those at the thrift store all the time. So that's a good, I am kind of weird. Now this is one of my treasures. I've had these since I was probably 4 or 5 years old. These are all shells that I collected as a little girl in Maine. So these are some of my most favorite shells in the whole wide world, because they were, collected by me in Maine whenever I was a little girl. I collected rocks and shells a long time before I knew that my interest in nature would get this big. And this is a cigar box that I found in my grandparents' house. And I made a bunting with dried magnolia buds and dried hydrangeas. Hydrangea blooms dry very well, guys. And this I got at the thrift store. It was just pressed flowers, and I think it's so funny because the butterfly is a sticker. Yeah, I get excited about this. And here's another nest that was very interesting. And when I find broken shells, I just drop them in various nests. Unless it's shells that went in a particular, like if sometimes you'll collect, like I showed my bluebird nest that was collected because it was frozen. It had the bluebird eggs. So those nests I don't throw other eggs in. This is something I just collected recently. It is the center of black-eyed Susan, brown-eyed Susan, or some people call them black-eyed or brown-eyed Susan. Look how beautiful. They just dried so perfectly. And this is a sea urchin that has the reproductive organs inside. And people actually collect the reproductive organs. I can't get it to shake, and they call it the Aladdin's lamp. And Miss Judy and I were like, do they really know what they're collecting? I mean, it's very beautiful, but it's the reproductive organs. So it's like, anyway, so that's the sea urchin with the little pricklies. Well, there's some of them you can do like that. Some of them you can, with the hydrangeas, they definitely will dry like that. But with some things, I drop in clean cat litter. Like if they have a softer petal. I think some hydrangeas might even dry on the plant too. These right here, Lynn, if you're still on there, I picked these up somewhere very special, and I'll tell you about that. These pine cones. Oh, yes. This is an antique. My grandmother was born in 1900, and she got married in 1931. And either when they were dating or right after they got married, my grandfather went to Florida. And for something, I don't know what he was there for, but he bought this in a gift shop and sent it to her, and it is a gator hatching out of an egg. And so it's from sometime in the 1930s. They had, you know, you can tell it's got wires in it. They had fixed it like taxidermists. So yes, it's so weird. It was like something that you could buy in Florida as a keepsake, gator hatching out of an egg. So I just think that was really cool. Here's some sea urchins. You can clean them in a mixture of, yeah, well, I mean, my grandma, they were farmers and they like the outdoors and nature too. I don't know, it's just weird. But you can soak these in a mixture of Clorox and water. I accidentally soaked some in plain Clorox and it was too much. So you can clean sand dollars and sea urchins and things like that in a mixture of Clorox and water. Now this is the nest that I think I told you about that we pulled out of our bird box. So this thing from the thrift store is the perfect size for a nest that pulls right out of the bluebird box. So after the nests are used in the spring, you should collect them so that another bird can build in it. But you can see in there, I don't know if you can see it on this camera, but you can see our hair. This is the one where we know because we cut our hair outside. Sometimes my daughter-in-law cuts her hair, and you can see my children's and my hair in this bird nest that they used to make the nest. And here's another cheese ball, and this is the stingray sack, and the other one. I found these little things at the thrift store. I like the corks, and these are egg cases, and I have several of those that Miss Judy gave me. This is another teeny tiny nest. Oh, and I recently collected some river birch bark, and it's just so beautiful, and I like that it's like paper, and I think it was used to write on. But someone gifted me with these let me show you the lightning whelk casing. This shell right here, it's the egg casing for this shell. So I have some down in there, but I think I showed on my other scope the babies. Like you can shake out the seeds for that big shell, and they're teensy tiny, but if you look at them under a magnifying glass, they are perfectly formed like this. So that's just something really fun. Someone gifted me with these trays. Not out here. The sponges stink. My friend Miss Judy has, like if I stuck this to my nose, let me see. Yeah, it still stinks a little bit, but my friend Miss Judy collected a lot of sponges, and we've tried everything to try to get them to not stink. It just takes a lot of sun and a lot of time. Like if I were to put these sea whips still stink, so I'm just trying to rotate them in the sun. The sea whips, they still stink, so it just takes time for the fishy smell. But I went on my grandparents' land and found some deer where hunters had just skinned the deer right there, so I soaked these and cleaned these so we could. It's really neat because you can the children can put the vertebrae together like a puzzle. And collection of wasp nest. This might have been a mixture of Clorox and water, but for little bones I use hydrogen peroxide. I found that idea on Jake's Bones. You need to look that up. Jakesbones. And this is our attempt with plaster of Paris. That's a dog. We had some more, but we gave them away. And this is a rabbit. Yes, Jake's Bones. And I have the possum one inside because it was almost perfect. Our possum track. So if you, maybe I'll do a scope on how to do that sometime. Make a plaster of Paris mold of animal tracks that you find. So I don't know. Yeah, someone went digging somewhere and found some, oh, I don't remember, like old, like where you can tell that the Indians had used the stone to like strike or grind in there. But I have to get him to explain it all to me again so I can take notes before I share it. Then this was sent from an Instagram friend, River Rock from Arizona. I don't know if she's on here or not, but that's just neat. Very wonderful. We did a small nature exchange just between ourselves. And rocks from when I was little and all through my life. And my dear friend Miss Lossie went to the Hoover Dam and brought me a piece of that. And purple quartz and geodes that we cracked. So there's more rocks in here. These are some we did when you buy the gems, when you go gem mining, and they give you that. Yeah, there he is. So loud. These rocks were collected from my niece's wedding at the beach. Yes, I have that inside of the house, Lynn, and I think I showed that on my other scope. My friend and our mutual friend who lives in Mexico sent me a scorpion. Now inside of here I have individual type shells, and these are just pimento cans. Someone gave me a whole lot of jars and I spray painted them with black paint and used a paint marker to label the shells. So, and then this chickadee, my friend on here, gave me this shell. Yay! I'm so glad you got to pop in. I just saw your first scope. So, anyway, just different ideas of how to, you know, display. And I like to have stuff the children can touch. I mean, they can touch everything in here, but I like to have stuff down, like the stuff up on the top I need to pull down and let them look at. But the stuff down here they can explore. These are all broken shells. They're just beautiful. And they can see what the inside looks like. Carter collected a slug today and wanted me to Google what do slugs eat. So it's probably dead, but I don't know. He wanted to try to keep a slug for a pet. So we'll see how that works. Oh, and this is another thrift store. I didn't dust it off, but this is some of my, what I think is prettier or more rare shells, or more fragile shells. So anyway, I think that's about it. Oh, I did want to show, this was on my teacher desk. This is a good set of smaller, I like to have shells that are different sizes. So these are all tiny, so I can, yeah, they are near perfect, so that's hard to find. So like I can dump these out and they can see that it's still perfect and beautiful. I'm trying to get it to focus, even tiny. And I just love to have the different sizes. My friend Miss Judy, oh, I've enjoyed it, Andy. My friend Miss Judy has teensy tiny ones that you have to use a magnifying glass to see. But I wanted to tell you guys and that I got my inspiration for doing this in this book. Whoop. Small town. I got my inspiration from my nature hut in this book. If you've only read Little Women, you need to read the rest. You need to read all her books. But it talks about a boy named Dan that was very interested in nature and his curiosity, and how they ended up having a natural history museum in an old building outside of the school. And I read the whole book again to see what they named it, because I wanted to name my, good Andy, I wanted to name my little building something fun, but I found out they named it the Lawrence Museum, and I said that's not fun. So we've decided to call it we've decided to call it a nature hut instead of a natural history museum. So anyway, I just wanted to, I forgot to introduce myself. Whoop. So if you want to see more of the nature hut and my other nature scopes, you can look on Catch. But I think most of you know me here, so I see some of you are joining late, but I wanted to make this, let me see if I can. Yes, I wanted to make this a quick one, and I got carried away and started talking about everything, but I hope I've given some inspiration for how easy it is to find jars at the thrift store or in, you know, the back of your mother's kitchen cabinet that she's not using anymore. And to display some of your nature things, to make it more joyful and to make it more, touchable for children. So I did a little swag of grapevine and dried hydrangeas over that window. And this, yeah, a nature shed, nature hut. This was my son Ruben's. It was given to him almost full, and he collected some more of them, but it's really old, like really, really old, but it's still cool. It's too gross to hang up in the house, but it's cool for out here. So if you have any questions about anything that I've rambled about, or, oh good, if you're just joining in, you can see the, well, you know, there may be like a walk-in closet in your house, or even just a closet that you can put shelves in. That's a hanging, like an extra hanging closet or something. It doesn't necessarily have to be outside. I'd like to have I have an antique buffet that I showed in one of mine, but I'd like to have one that has the cabinet with glass on the top, so I can put some of my most favorite and most treasured, or most fragile nature collection more inside, like I showed you my one favorite drawer in the house in my first nature scope. So I see some of you have popped out and popped in. So anyway, you don't necessarily need an outdoor building. I had it for a lot of reasons. Like I said, my basket stuff and some of my Civil War stuff. So it just worked for us. But think outside of the box when you're thinking about Andy did a really good one about her nature shelf. She had her husband and she has quite a bit. She had her husband hang shelves just on a space in one room on a wall, like floor to ceiling shelves. And she had jars and beautiful things like that too. So, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be outside, but it can be fun and beautiful. It doesn't have to be all in plastic containers. I don't like plastic I like plastic containers if they're inside of another drawer cabinet, but I don't like plastic containers out on the shelf. It's just when the children were little, it was different. Yeah, start with something, even a tray. When the children was little, a lot of stuff was plastic. A lot. We used peanut butter jars, mayonnaise jars that were cleaned out and like would paint the lid or something. But as they got older and it became more like mine to share with other families, that's when, you know, I started looking for the vintage glasses or jars, and so it's evolved, our nature collecting. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this tour of the nature. Hey, Leah. I hope you've enjoyed the tour. Let me flip. Leah just got in here and show her. It's fine. You can watch the replay. Show her the scope of the shelf. Now my husband's laughing at me now because the fire alarm keeps on going off. That's fine. You can watch the replay. I shared some of my stuff. Oh, I didn't share my petrified wood that my neighbor gave me. I always say, that wood is scared to death. The kids think I'm crazy to say that. But I have my pine cones organized by shape. These pine cones are beautiful. I'm not sure what tree it came off of, but they have white tips on them, and it looks like they're snow. They're just so beautiful. I made a bunting out of these. So Marco, hold on.
I had nothing to do with this. I think my arm was twisted, and let's see. I must have been dreaming when I did all this.
He had everything to do with it. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have a shelf or...
Lies.
Of asking him, honey, I need you to do something in my shop. So he did. He built this for me, and put up the shelves and built these boxes that I stole. So yes, he is crazy. Jessica can testify to that because she's my daughter-in-law and she sees him every day. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed the tour, and I will definitely, I want to learn more about what I have in that box and some other things I've collected. Yes, it is, and it's a treasure trove to share. My heart's desire is not only just to collect it for myself, but to share and let people come and visit and learn and see and touch and get encouraged to study nature themselves. So I'm hoping to do a shell workshop soon. I wanted to do it last year, but did not get it together, but I feel more together and organized, so I think it'll get done this year. Anyway, I'm going to sign off and talk to all of you wonderful ladies later, and I'm looking forward to seeing nature posts and scopes on Instagram and Periscope. So we will talk to you soon.